Early. Thanks for being here. I am Career Sherpa. My name is Hannah Morgan, and hello to everybody who is here with me today. If you want to just put in the comments, say hello, that you're here, that would be great, and we'll get started in 1 minute. Thank you all for being here. Okay, I want to thank you all for being here. Thanks. It's now noon. Happy Monday. This is Job Search Live, and I'm Hannah Morgan of CareerSherpa.net. Thank you all for being here. Good to see you, Nigel and Jagbeer. Thanks for being here. So what I've done is, if you are new here, I have put a link to this week's Summary Sunday. And what I love to do during this Job Search Live is certainly answer any questions you have. So if you have any questions, please put those in the comments. But also, I like to talk about why these articles are important as you are looking at your job search. And so there were several different articles that were talked about in this week's Summary Sunday, and it was about January job search because we know historically January is that month where everybody either puts on their calendar, I'm going to start my job search this month, or for those people that have been enjoying the holiday and have been laid off or looking, the January timeframe is a great time to relaunch their job search. So let me just highlight some of the things that were featured in this week's Summary Sunday. There was a listing of free job search resources that were not just job search, there were some career resources there as well. That Robin Ryan had put together and listed on Forbes. There was advice and tools to organize your job search, and I liked sort of the logic of that, so I'm going to talk a little bit about that. There was a great conversation that Sarah Johnston had with Andrew Seaman. He's the LinkedIn Get Hired editor. And so they had a wonderful conversation on Friday. If you haven't seen the replay, it was great, great advice and information shared. Laura Smith Prue wrote a wonderful article about fixing your LinkedIn headline and why that's so important. And she gives really good examples of what and a formula to help you spiff up your LinkedIn headline. Nine Ways the Career Cycle Has Changed by Dr. Don Graham. Just a compilation of all of the different factors that are influencing how you run your career today, which is so different than years ago when we first got into this world of work. The career cycle looks different today. And then I threw in there an article about how social media is being used to help. There's been an awful lot in the news lately about about Twitter and Facebook and Parler and all of these different apps that are being used to um, that are shutting down access to certain people and certain groups of people. And while that is all happening, I think it was important and it's still important for you to keep focused on how social media is still being used for good purposes. And I think that's important. So I hope that you all had a chance to see the article that it ran on Forbes by Robin Ryan that lists all of those different free resources. Robin Ryan is a colleague of mine, someone I deeply respect, and she has written a great book. Let me get her book here. Um, it's one of the books that I always recommend. Oops, 60 Seconds and You're Hired by Robin Ryan. If you don't have this book on your desktop, you should have this book on your desktop. This is one of those books that probably won't really go out of style. What I loved about Robin Ryan's book is that she talks about you've got 60 seconds when you give an interview answer. And so her whole book is how can you in 60 seconds answer some of the most important job search questions. So there are lots of sample questions and the logic for answering them. So this is Robin Ryan. That's who she is, and she has an article. She has a regular feature on Forbes, and so this month, just last week, she featured. I think there are 6 or 7 different free resources from some of her favorite job search experts. So and career experts. So there's a lot of great stuff there, and I hope that you take advantage of downloading some of those tools and resources for your career and for your job search. I will say, oh, by the way, that one of my resources was listed there. So just sort of a humble brag, give you some heads up on that. Great to see you, Career Carroll County Business and Employment Center. Thank you for being here. Please, if you have questions as we go through today's conversation, I want you to put them in the comments. That would be great. Um, okay, so there was Robin Ryan's great article with free job search and career resources by some great people. The next article was by the Muse, Diana, I think it was. She wrote an article, How to Get and Stay Organized During Your Job Search. And what a great, January is a great time for you to rethink how are you managing your job search. If Deanna DeBarra wrote this article. Um, she I have talked about this for a long time myself, but the nice thing is she gives you different options on ways you can get yourself organized. You and I both know that it's so, so, so important to track all of the different conversations and applications that you have. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter what system or what platform you are using. What matters is that you have a system. And I would say that just tracking it on a piece of paper like this is not a system. That's not going to work for you. It really will become too cumbersome for you to manage, confusing. But if you do have a spreadsheet online, that's something that is probably easier to create and manage. So she does give you advice. If you're going to create a spreadsheet, these are the fields or the columns that you need to be keeping track of information for. So it's really a great primer, basic article to help you understand how to track your stuff. She also mentions 4 different tracking project management tools, and that's another part of this. So in your last role, you created some system, and I don't know what that system was, but you had some system to help you manage a project, whatever that project was. Was it the launch of an event? Was it publishing something? Whatever your job was, you had projects. What tool did you use to manage that? Because you can use that same system, so to speak, to manage the different stages and the different projects related to your job search. So let's consider each job posting that you apply to as a project, right? So you find the job posting and now you need to manage that project. And that project could go all the way up to a job offer. So what are the steps between applying for that job and getting the job offer? So there is the resume that you create, there is the cover letter that you create, there is the outreach that you do to people inside of that company, and oh, by the way, there are multiple people. There is the interviewing that you have to prepare for, and there's more than one interview. There's the phone screen interview, there's the first interview, there's the second interview, there might even be a third or fourth interview, and then there is the negotiation of the job offer, and then there is the offer. So that is a project. So when you think about your job search, each job you are interested in becomes a project. But then there are other parts of your job search that also have to be managed. Each person that you have a conversation with, you need to track that through to its different elements, and that can be different based on who you're talking to. So there were four different project management tools like Asana, Trello, ClickUp, and Monday.com that she lists as options if you didn't have a system that you were using in your past role. The nice thing about this is, and if you are somebody who loves to learn new things, you may want to consider using one of these new tools to help give you additional skill sets that you might bring into your new job with you. If you are seeing that a lot of companies are using a tool to manage projects, you might want to think about using that as the tool you use right now to manage your job search. Because then when you get into the job, you'll be familiar with that tool. Um, so then there are tools for managing your inbox and how you do that. And the recommendation that, oh my gosh, everything that you do should be portable because you're not necessarily going to be sitting in your home office all the time. You might be going places or you might be doing something where you don't have access to your computer. Where can you keep all that stuff? And the natural solution is something like Google Drive, or if you're using Microsoft 365, then the drive there. So the idea is there are ways that you can revamp your job search to be more organized, and that's what that post was all about. Did anyone else find that post interesting? Was it helpful? I thought it was helpful. Okay, so the next article, which wasn't really an article, was a link to Sarah Johnston's conversation with Andrew Seaman, which happened on Friday at noon. Please, please, please go take a look at that. Watch Sarah and Andrew. They talk about everything related to job search, from ageism, career gaps, networking, and so much more. Sarah, does a really good job of breaking down the job search and answering your questions. And Andrew's got a very good pulse on what the issues are that job seekers are facing. So please, please go watch that. Um, Laura's article on the surprising problem is called, her article is called The Surprising Problem with Your LinkedIn Headline. And so she quantifies some interesting data that I want to just reiterate to you. And you may have found this yourself as you are looking at LinkedIn and trying to get ideas for what to put in your headline. There are far more bad LinkedIn headlines than there are good LinkedIn headlines. But what Laura found from her independent research was that more than 90% of LinkedIn headlines only showed the person's current job in the field. Um, and most of them did not use the full 220 characters. They're using maybe 60 characters. That is a missed opportunity. Every profile has, every LinkedIn headline should try to maximize the 220 character limit, paying attention to the fact that people are not going to see the full 220 characters. They're going to see the first maybe 60, maybe 100 characters. So you want to put the most important part of your headline in that beginning part of your headline. Don't make them read to the very end to find the information that they're really looking for. So she talks about all of these really great reasons for having a good headline. And most importantly, what Laura does for a living is she writes resumes and LinkedIn profiles. So she knows exactly how to maximize and use the right words. So I hope that you will give her article a read so that you can really get a better idea of what a good LinkedIn headline looks like. And I think that that's the big thing there, is that most people don't know what a good one looks like. Um, so Laura gives you examples and really helps you understand why your job title and your past employer, or your job title alone, not a good headline for your LinkedIn profile. And then the next article was written by Don Graham, Dr. Don Graham, and it was 9 different things that make the career cycle different today. From education being sort of an ongoing thing, the fact that there are so many more jobs today that do not require you have any kind of education. That's been a trend that's been building for a while. They're called new collar jobs. So if you were going to go into, let's just say, coding, or you were going to be a programmer for software, there is no degree you need to do those jobs. What matters is that you have the experience and knowledge of how to do that. And so new collar jobs continue to grow. There are more of them even outside of the world of technology, which is really great news for a lot of people that don't necessarily need to go on to college to get education they need to do their job. Tenure is shorter. And if you haven't noticed this, then I don't know where you've been living, but most people are staying in a job for 2 to 3 years in a job. That doesn't mean they're staying in their company for 2 to 3 years. They're staying in a job for 2 to 3 years and they're moving. They're either moving up, they're moving out. So if you're not itching after a year and a half, you should be itching after a year and a half, thinking about where you're going to go next, what skills you need to get there, and what you're going to be working on. The other reason this is important is for you all as job seekers to realize that your next job is not going to carry you through till retirement, unless you're retiring in 2 years. Your next job is maybe 2 to 3 years, and after that, it's a whole new ball game. You could be doing anything you want. So I don't want to hear people get frustrated by saying I can't find that job that's going to take me to retirement, or I don't know what I want to do with the rest of my career. We're all trying to figure that out. I think our horizon for looking at what's next is 2 to 3 years. What do you want to do for the next 2 to 3 years? And you can be working on your plan for the next 2 to 3 years after you're in that role. Um, that we are seeing, and Don's other point is your colleagues are machines, and yes, and I think that that's a really great way of looking at it. We are not being necessarily replaced by robots and technology and um, things like that. What we are being, we're working alongside them. We are the people who are programming these machines and this technology. The artificial intelligence is nothing without the people who are managing it and overseeing it and doing something with the data. So for the longest time, I've been saying that any career that you're looking at should really if you are looking at any new career, you really want to be looking at your knowledge of and understanding of data and data science and data management and data analysis, because more and more we're going to see the world be driven by artificial intelligence and robots that are gathering data. And the magic really is in with the people who know what to do with that data. So what are you doing about that? And one of the other points that Dawn makes in her 9 points is the fact that retirement is being delayed. The whole concept of retirement is very different today. Very few people are going to retire and then drink Mai Tais on the beach or play golf all day long. What most people are doing is they're going to retire from their normal job, but then they're going to be doing something different. And that something different may generate income. It may not generate income. It may be they're volunteering. It may be that they do consulting or they do some sort of work. And I think that all of us, as we are closing in on what we think is retirement, need to think about how do we want to invest our time after we retire? What kinds of things do we want to do? And the gig economy has given more opportunities for a larger range of people than ever before. So, and most people aren't thinking about retiring at age 65. It's just too early. And even those people right now who have found themselves unemployed and are thinking, okay, well, I'm just going to drop out and I'm going to retire. You're not really going to retire. You can't afford to live on whatever you've made for the rest of your life. So you're going to have to go back into the workforce and do something. What that something depends on what you want it to be. And there's great power and opportunity in thinking about what that looks like. So retirement is delayed. The last article that I talk about, there are 9 social media leaders and what they're taking with them into 2021. And I want you to go read that because there are 9 different case studies, examples of how companies and people, the leaders inside companies, are using social media to listen, to help their customers, to provide extra services, to do good. It's not to exploit or to do damage or to hurt other people. That's not how they're using social media. They're using social media to help. Now, I think now is a really good time too to remind you, especially after some of the news that I've seen, is that employers are using social media to track and monitor what their employees are doing. And that is very true right now. And some of the things that we are seeing are that companies are seeing their employees who participated in January 6th activities and using that as a reason to fire them or to let them go. So if you haven't locked down all of your social media, this is a good reminder that your social media should be locked down. You should only allow people to see the social media posts that you want them to see. That doesn't mean you can't be on social media. Just be very purposeful and aware of what you are posting on social media and where you appear on social media. You can control that, but you have to monitor it. Um, Rightly or wrongly, in many states, they're at-will employers. They can fire any employee for any reason they want. So we don't need to really get into that battle over it's not fair, it's not right. An employer can do what they want to do, but you don't want to give them any ammunition or reason to terminate you or to let you go. So that those were the most important points from where we are today in job search, and what is happening. And the other thing is, I don't know if you've seen this too, but as I scroll through my LinkedIn feed and my notifications, which I hope you are doing every day as well, looking at your notifications, and in my feed, I am seeing every day in my feed notifications about people who I am connected to, my first degree connections, who are getting jobs. I think on Sunday, as I was scrolling through, I saw 4 or 5 notifications. Um, of people that I know who are landing, securing new jobs. So imagine how many people I don't know are getting new jobs and I'm not hearing about. I love to remind people that yes, companies are still hiring. New budgets might be starting in January. People come back from the holidays with a refreshed outlook, and employers with a re- refreshed outlook on, okay, it's definitely the time we need to fill this job. So please don't stop. Keep looking. Though the jobs are out there. The words of encouragement that I give you are to diversify where you are looking for those jobs. Implement new strategies. Try new ways of reaching out to people that you know. I don't like hearing people give the recommendation to reach out to complete strangers. There's no incentive for a complete stranger to talk to you, but there is an incentive for people that you know to offer help, and that help could be in the form of an introduction. So please, please, please start your job search off this new year by being intentional and reaching out to the people that you know first. If you haven't talked to them in a couple of months, this is a perfect excuse for you to check in on them and see how they are doing. And guess what? Just by doing that, they are going to ask you the same question in return. How are things with you? What's going on? And that is your chance, your invitation to tell them, to ask them for help and to give them an update on your job search. So please go through your list of everyone you know and begin one-on-one reaching out to them and checking in to see how they're doing this new year. I hope that works. I hope that gives you hope. I hope that gives you the help that you need to reinvigorate your job search and to do the things that you really know that I know you can do. There's no reason you can't do these things. You absolutely can. It's all right up here. Yeah, Michael, and there's a lot of news out there about retirement careers. Um, Next step careers, if you just Google it, you'll find a whole host of articles on that. My friend Charlene Laube has a whole blog set up for on careers after retirement, bridge to retirement type careers. So definitely go Google that. You will find lots of people offering help. Um, Yes, it's all about entrepreneurship, Rosa. Good to see you here today. Yeah, if you are managing this career as an entrepreneur would manage their business, yeah, That's part of the secret to this. Each job is your chance to give what you can give and go find something else in some place else where you can give more and better of you. So, yay. Awesome. I am almost done for the day. Um, I'm sort of reviewing the comments now. Nigel, I know you've been the exception. You were part of that rare breed of people that stayed with one